went for the Amazon boss, Jeff Bezos. And of course, it's for professional
and in the
reasons.
country, and wants him to help her become a billionaire herself, which you could easily.
It started with a whisper, a tiny rumor from inside Amazon studios. But within hours, it grew into a thunderstorm roaring across Hollywood. Jeff Bezos was done with the Sussexes, not reconsidering, not renegotiating. Done. And when the news reached Meghan Markle in Montecito, sources say she broke down in tears, realizing that one of the last major pillars of her Hollywood comeback had just collapsed in one brutal...
Parties, you do not sign it. You're a VIP. If you've got to make people sign documents, you don't get into Jeff Bezos's house. This was a...
Because make no mistake, this wasn't just another media hiccup. This was the kind of decision that shifts an entire industry, sends executives scrambling, and exposes the shaky foundation the Sussex brand has been walking on for years. Let's rewind, because this meltdown didn't happen overnight. It was the result of weeks, maybe months, of pressure building behind the scenes at lightning speed. Rumors swirled across studio backlots, executives frustrated, producers confused, projects stalled, meetings postponed indefinitely. Amazon insiders whispered that the Sussexes' ideas were unfocused and inconsistent. That production logistics became a nightmare, and that every discussion felt like Meghan and Harry were trying to recreate the Oprah interview energy again and again and again.
Shining for us. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, very lucky.
But here's the real breaking point. Jeff Bezos, the man who built Amazon from nothing into a global powerhouse, has no patience for chaos. And apparently, that's exactly how insiders described the Sussex partnership, especially after the whole Kardashian mess. Imagine attending a person's 70th birthday celebration and making it all about you. One source put it bluntly, Amazon doesn't babysit celebrities. You deliver, or you're replaced. Those 6 words were Meghan Markle's worst nightmare. And according to insiders, she could smell trouble before the decision even went public. Meetings suddenly became shorter. Calls were returned slower. Emails from Amazon execs shifted from "we love the pitch" to "let's revisit this next quarter." Translation in Hollywood terms, your contract is dying. Now, here's where it gets even more explosive. Jeff Bezos didn't just pull the plug quietly. No, the decision was made strategically. Right as Amazon greenlit a series of new high-budget projects with established creators, signaling to the entire industry that they were moving away from unproven celebrity-driven content. And that's when the real panic hit Montecito. Because Meghan, she had counted on this Amazon partnership to be her comeback, the big, shiny blockbuster moment that would prove she belonged at the top of Hollywood's power ladder. A moment that would silence critics, mockers, and online trolls in one swoop. Instead, her dreams got stomped on by a corporate boot the size of a small country. Sources close to the Sussexes say Meghan was devastated, not just upset, devastated. One insider recounted that the atmosphere inside the Montecito mansion shifted instantly. Meghan reportedly locked herself away for hours, angry, overwhelmed, and terrified of what this meant for her next big move. Harry, meanwhile, was said to be pacing, confused, and quietly furious that another major corporate door had slammed in their faces. Because if Netflix was already lukewarm, if Spotify had already cut ties, and if Hollywood had grown tired of the endless royal trauma narrative, then Amazon was supposed to be the saving grace, the proof that big tech and big media still believed in the Sussex name. But Bezos' decision spoke louder than any press release ever could.
Now we know Jeff Bezos is Amazon. He's connected to Amazon. And who has recently done a little, who's apparently done a little cameo.
The Sussexes weren't the hot ticket anymore. They were a risky investment, a fading brand, and Hollywood. Hollywood doesn't chase fading brands. Hollywood replaces them. But here's where things get really wild. The very moment Bezos' decision leaked. Literally, within minutes, the Hollywood gossip machine erupted like a volcano. Phone screens lit up everywhere. Studio assistants stopped mid-email, PR teams froze. Agents whispered, "Oh my God, it's happening. They're collapsing." Twitter or X, TikTok, Instagram, all of them exploded with theories. Is Meghan canceled by Amazon? Did Jeff Bezos ditch them? Is the Sussex brand over? What really went down in those meetings? Comment sections turned into war zones. Some defended Meghan fiercely, others roasted her. And a third group, the Hollywood watchers, said this was the moment they saw coming the whole time. But the real bombshell? That came from an anonymous Amazon producer who claimed the Sussexes' final pitch meeting went off the rails. According to the leak, Meghan arrived confident, even triumphant, and presented a visionary concept she believed would redefine celebrity docuseries forever. But execs reportedly found it unfocused, scattered, more glossy PR than storytelling. One insider said, it felt like they wanted another Oprah moment, but Amazon doesn't do emotional therapy sessions. We do content. Then came the moment that sealed their fate. Another executive reportedly asked, Meghan, what makes this project stand out from the dozens of others we've been pitched this month? And Meghan, in her signature style, launched into an explanation of global influence, cultural change, and inspirational visibility. But no one in the room cared about inspirational visibility. They cared about numbers, deliverables, ROI, deadlines. The meeting ended early.
Always nervous on occasions like that. Then he said,
The next week, Bezos made his call. This wasn't personal. It was business. Cold, strategic, precise business. But for Meghan, it was deeply, painfully personal. Because this wasn't just another corporate partnership slipping away. This was the third major platform to distance itself from her and Harry. Each one a bigger hit to their brand than the last. Spotify, Netflix's cooling interest, and now Amazon. Hollywood executives whispered a phrase Meghan never wanted to hear: brand fatigue. A beautiful way of saying people have heard the story and they don't want it anymore. And as the news spread, Meghan's emotional reaction spread with it. Sources described her as heartbroken, confused, and terrified of losing relevance. Even Harry reportedly admitted privately that they needed to rethink everything from scratch. And while the public saw only silence from the Montecito mansion, behind closed doors, insiders say Meghan was spiraling, pacing, venting, crying, analyzing every detail. Terrified that this might be the moment her Hollywood empire began to crumble. Because when Jeff Bezos, one of the most powerful men in modern entertainment and tech, decides you're no longer worth the investment, Hollywood listens and Hollywood follows. If you thought the Bezos situation was chaotic before, oh, buckle up. Because this is where the events in our story really start to burn. According to insiders, Meghan's reaction to the alleged Bezos decision was instant, explosive, and wall-shaking dramatic. Picture this. She's pacing through the Montecito mansion, voice echoing off marble floors, trying to make sense of how the world's richest man could possibly decide that the Sussex media dream wasn't worth another
in an extravagant ceremony in Venice, Italy, June 27th.
And then
The phones start ringing, Hollywood publicists, streaming reps, friends who only call when cameras are rolling. Everyone wants to know the same thing. Is it true? Did Bezos actually pull the plug? And Meghan goes into full crisis command mode? She calls Harry multiple times. Rapid fire, no breaks, no pauses, just pure panic energy. Meanwhile, Harry has his own meltdown moment. He's reportedly trying to figure out whether this marks the end of their Hollywood chapter or just the end of one billionaire's involvement. But then comes the twist. While Meghan is trying to regain control of the situation, Jeff Bezos makes a move no one saw coming. He goes quiet. No statements, no clarifications, no damage control, just silence. And that silence, it's louder than any headline. The media senses blood in the water. Paparazzi swarm Montecito like they've been given coordinates. Social media collapses into chaos. Fans start whispering conspiracy theories. Haters act like they just won the World Cup, and Netflix executives, they reportedly start scheduling emergency strategy meetings, the type where they all show up in black turtlenecks and whisper dramatically. But here's where things get truly wild. As the world waits for an official statement, Meghan decides to take matters into her own hands. She begins drafting what insiders describe as a critical message, a speech meant to set the record straight and reclaim the narrative. But before she even finishes the first paragraph, Bezos makes his move. The billionaire titan releases a single cold corporate line through his spokesperson. We are reviewing our partnerships and adjusting future commitments accordingly, No names, no details, just enough to send the internet into hysteria. Because in Hollywood, a statement like that means one thing. Something changed permanently. Meghan reportedly bursts into tears. Harry goes silent, staring off into the distance like he's rethinking every life choice since 2016. The staff allegedly tiptoe around the house like they're avoiding landmines and the media. Oh, the media breaks into a sprint. Commentators jump on live streams paparazzi camp outside Montecito. Royal reporters smell a global headline. Hollywood blogs start posting countdown timers. Everyone wants to know the same thing. Is this the end of the Sussex Hollywood era? But Meghan refuses to let the narrative run without her. She begins mapping out her comeback blueprint. Emails, calls, meetings, potential deals, influencer alliances, a full-scale counterattack. Except there's one problem. Every single plan depends on one thing. Someone, anyone, going on the record with her. And suddenly, the phones stop ringing. Friends go quiet, publicists ghost her. Even the most opportunistic Hollywood personalities mysteriously become unavailable. It's as if the entire industry smelled chaos and backed away slowly, quietly, like they didn't want to be dragged into whatever fallout was happening behind the scenes. Harry, overwhelmed, reportedly tries to encourage Meghan, telling her it's just a temporary setback. But even he knows that when billionaires pull support, the shockwaves are real. But the real blow comes at the end of the night. Meghan opens her laptop, checking trending topics, expecting her statement draft to be the next big thing. Instead, one headline dominates global feeds. Bezos cuts royal ties, Sussex future uncertain. And that's when Meghan breaks. Not a dramatic tantrum, not a calculated PR moment. Just silence, stillness, a quiet, painful realization. The Hollywood power structure she thought she had mastered may have just turned the page without her. And Meghan Markle, the Duchess who once dominated headlines, now faces the biggest question of her career. What happens when even billionaires walk away? So picture this. It's been less than 48 hours since the news broke. The Bezos pulls the plug rumor spreading like wildfire across social media. TikTok edits. Flying reaction channels exploding, Reddit threads hitting meltdown levels, and now Montecito is silent. Not peaceful silent, strategic silence. The type of silence that has everyone online asking one thing. Where is Meghan? And why isn't she saying anything? Because usually, a single negative headline, a spicy rumor, even a mildly shady tweet. Boom, a statement, a leak, a friend close to the Sussexes talking. But now, nothing. And in that silence, the drama only grows louder. Agents, PR, consultants, streaming execs, podcast producers, they're all doing what Hollywood does best, speculating. Hard One exec was overheard saying, if Bezos really stepped back, others will follow. Nobody wants to be the last one holding the bill. Another whispers, if Amazon is hesitant, Netflix will think twice too. Rumors, quotes, but it's chaos. Because suddenly the entire Sussex brand empire looks like it's resting on a table with one wobbly leg and someone just kicked it. And Meghan, behind closed doors, she's pacing, she's panicking, she's plotting. Because she knows something huge. If the business world thinks Bezos doubts them, everything else will tremble. And she refuses to let that happen. Meanwhile, Harry is watching the entire internet implode in real time and he's stressed, like really stressed. Because he knows his phone is blowing up for a reason. Royal reporters asking for comment. British tabloids sharpening their knives. Hollywood gossip channels framing it like a countdown clock. Is the Sussex empire collapsing? He's trying to keep things calm, trying to hold the emotional line. But Meghan wants action. She wants a counterstrike.